If you're a hacker, you better be careful. If you're a hacker, you better hide.
Run!
Harstem is coming to hunt down these losers. Harstem is gonna take them down in a fight. And in today's Harstem Hunts Hackers, we have a very interesting game over here. It's Flappy Bird versus Loud Piglet. This got sent in to us by our red Protoss player called Loud Piglet. And he said, hey, I played this new Terran account and blindly countered my proxy barracks and did a lot of fishy stuff all around. Crazy good surrounds without really looking at any of the fights. And that sounded very interesting to me. So we're here to take a quick look at this replay as Flappy Bird opens up with a double barracks before gas. Now, is that interesting? Yes, that's interesting because that's not really considered a build order. On the other side of things, what do we have going on? We have a proxy gate over here for the Loud Piglet. So that is a pretty solid setup when it comes to that. I'm going to go back into Flappy Bird's first person view over here as he's just, fighting this probe a little bit. And just take a quick look at the camera moves over here. All right, so we're going to start our orbital command the moment we can. Make a marine. And then while we're hovering over this general area, a bunker starts off screen. That is weird. For the people that don't know how replays work, you can be in kind of the first person view mode, which is what we're in right now. So we're seeing everything that Flappy Bird was seeing at that moment. He managed to construct a bunker off screen. And even here, look at the positioning of the depot here. This is really crazy. Like, this is not even impossible, but look how far up top on the screen it is. There's no one that builds like this on the edge of the screen because the risk of your mouse hitting the screen and then you flying across the map with your camera view is extremely high. So people usually center the screen a bit more when they're building constructions. Like they might build it on like the upper right half or the bottom left half, but you never see it this far at the top. Like this is someone that most likely is using the zoom hack. This is one of the things that I've only been made aware of semi-recently, like a couple of months back. I saw it for the first time in someone that was blinking in locations that were off-screen and then attack clicking on tanks, which I thought was hilarious, like a hilarious way to get caught. And we're seeing it here once more. Someone opening with a bunker off-screen. It's really weird. On top of that, look at the general movement of the camera here. We're seeing almost no moves into Fog of War. And I think the reason this is because he might have a screen lock. This used to be a thing back in the day already. I recall this from Wings of Liberty. Is a pretty solid way to catch hackers was that if they were to click on Fog of War to send units to, for example, their screen would lock for the first person view. So basically the screen would just stand still for a little bit and nothing would happen because they would be clicking on Fog of War. It's like a way for the hacker to get protected by their hacks. And it feels to me like that is what's happening here with Flappy Bird as well. On top of that, he's opening up with a triple bunker wall. Again, someone that's opening up with a 2-gate robo opener, which isn't an opener either. Like, hacking is a crime, but the real crime in this game is Loud Piglet opening up with a proxy gate into a robo. This is not good against anything. So technically both are criminals, but what Flappy Bird does is, I guess, slightly more illegal and also something I frown upon heavily. It's something that can't be fixed either, you know? You can fix your build order, but if you're a map hacker in a 15-year-old game, there's probably something wrong with you and you know, it's time that the world gives up on you. Either way, Flappy Bird, is he a hacker? Yes, confirmed, just by building that bunker off screen. Oh, and if you weren't convinced yet, let's take a look at how he executes this fight. Take a look at where the camera is and keep a close eye on the minimap so you know what's happening. Camera stays here and look at the micro here on the right side of the screen. He's kiting forward and I can't see any of the clicks over there. His opponent leaves. Honestly, I'm very impressed that Loud Piglet managed to find this because in-game figuring out that someone is zoom hacking is not that easy, I think. So our second replay is going to be between Map Hacker and Bruh. Now, this was sent in by Bruh, who said, hey, I have a build order, a 3BT drop that hits at 4 minutes and 4 seconds, and usually I don't check my replays, but something felt off about this, as well as that my opponent is called Map Hacker. So I checked it and I feel like he is pretty suspicious. And there's one particular moment in this replay that Bruh considers the most suspicious. And we'll get to that later. But for now, let's take a look at our first-person view here on our boy Map Hacker. Opens up with a Reaper first, and then goes into a command center over here. Finds his opponent on the first try, as we can see on the minimap right now. Goes in with that SCV scout. Let's take a look. Where does the camera go? Okay, sees. Hey, no second pylon. Hey, no nexus. Hey, what the hell is going on over here? Let me continue my build order. So, gonna throw down a depot as well. And hopefully follow this up with either a reactor or with another marine and a bunker on the low ground. This is extremely suspicious, although there is no chrono boost on the gateway here. So you could think to yourself, well, what actually is going on over there? Do I need a bunker? The answer is still most likely going to be yes. You will indeed still need a bunker. So Barracks is going to move over, it's going to turn into a reactor. Now, something interesting here is that the proxy that is going on right now is actually happening in the middle of the map over here. If you know that something like that is happening and you are map hacking, in my mind, what you do is you just go there with your Reaper. It is not weird to scout for opponent proxies. However, if you're a really bad map hacker, something that you might do is you could potentially just be like, okay, I know what he's doing. Why the hell would I go confirm it with my Reaper? I already know what it is, right? That would also be, honestly, a pretty logical approach to things. It's like, hey, I'm not caring about hiding my map hacks, so why the hell would I scout? But then we see this Reaper being placed on our opponent's natural. I'm not sure if that's for a spotter or if he's trying to deny his opponent ever taking a nexus. It's hard for me to say, but for now he's just going to be patrolling over there, making sure that nothing weird is happening. He's also not scouting for any outside bases, so that's also something we kind of want to keep in mind. Now, this moment, I think, is really freaking weird. Look at this. He scans, okay? He scans, sees the exact same thing as before, which is absolutely nothing, and then instantly builds an eBay over here, which I think is a very fair response. You see 0 buildings. My mind would either go to Proxy DT or Proxy Robo. Now, let's take a look at the situation as this happens. We have a Dark Shrine that is 45 seconds out of 71. There are currently 0 scans available. This was the only scan that was here, and this command center only has 32 energy. That means by the time the Prism with 3 DTs is gonna hit, this man is gonna have a single scan, an eBay that won't be done, and about 3.5 Marines. Like, this is not a blind counter to a proxy Dark Shrine. This is a counter, like an all-around counter to anything that the Protoss can do, which at this point probably could be anything as well. He's building a tank. He's not getting a Cyclone, which I much would have preferred against the Prism plus DT drop. He is adding extra barracks, which I think is nice and a good call, but his eBay is way too late for this DT drop. So if this guy actually had map hack, this would be one of the worst possible responses against this particular proxy. Now, the next moment is the one moment where you could once again start the doubt. It's like, hey, is this guy potentially map hacking? Because look at this. He empties this bunker right as the Prism flies in, sends all of his Marines over. Look at that. He's just freaking going into that area with his entire army to go right-click on that Prism, sees the DT warp in, tries to move forward, but the DTs finish up. Now, there is a single scan available, 0 turrets have been constructed, this scan isn't even going to get anything, and in theory right now, at this moment, the game should be over in favor of our Protoss player. There's not a scan available on the natural quite yet, there's 3 DTs in the base, they can be split, 1 over here, 2 on the depot, then 1 can go into the natural, and you just cycle more and more DTs into this area. So at this point, our map hacker has officially lost against a proxy Dark Shrine, despite having full vision. So the only suspicious move in this entire game, really, is the fact that our man sent 4 Marines into the main base. Now, if that is truly the only thing that is kind of weird about this, in my mind, it is too little to truly call him a map hacker. It is possible. Is it a suspicious move? Yes. But maybe all of a sudden he realized, hey, wait a second. usually at around 4 minutes. The Robo Proxy also hits, which is actually correct. If you open up with an Immortal and then a Prism, you're gonna hit about 4 minutes into the game, maybe a little bit earlier, depending on where the robotics facility is. Like, there were 5 different things that he could have done that would have made this situation much better, but he opted to scan, then went for a tank, and didn't build any turrets, despite having an eBay already. So he kind of, in case it was DT, probably wanted to build the turrets reactively. However, this hit way faster than he might have expected. Like, to me, this is a really difficult call to make. Like, I just don't think there's enough information. Like, there's no Reaper Scout on the proxy. There's not the correct units. And there's just not the correct counter. And the waste of the scan energy onto the main base is really freaking crazy to me. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, Bruh actually had this game won, but because he didn't really micro his DTs and ends up losing majority of them, he's actually in a bad spot. This, by the way, is a pretty suspicious move as well. Oh, I hadn't seen this. Look at this. Oh, look at this. Because, does he kill this Prism? No, the Prism flies away. Then he moves towards this Prism to kill it. And look at the movement here with the rest of the army. It instantly goes down. This is all out of vision, by the way. So this Prism is going back in. DT is coming in. And look at this. He's just going down here. He's going for it. That is pretty suspicious. But then again, he knew that Prism was still alive. So you're probably expecting it to be there. Do Platinum players have object permanence yet? That is the only question that I really want answered. It's like, if you give a Platinum player, if you put a red dot on their hat and you put them in front of the mirror, you know, do they start scratching it? Do they know where things are or where they're supposed to be? You know, you put something under a cup and you start moving it. Are they capable of doing that? I don't know. None of my friends are Platinum. But this one trumps me. I'm just not entirely sure.